And welcome back to the OHO podcast, everybody. I'm your host, Buckeye Boggs. That man to my left, that handsome devil, is Chris Wilds. And tonight we're going to talk about probably my least favorite subject, but for some reason they think that because we talk about them, that they live rent free in our head. That's their philosophy, anyways. And that's
Yeah,
everything that's happening up there in the whore known as Ann Arbor. The NCAA has spoken, Chris, and they have spoken pretty loudly. And if you are a fan of that team, you might be feeling kind of good, but this is a warning shot that has some sting to it if you can read between the lines. And those with half intelligence know that the hammer's coming. It might not come as soon as us Buckeye fans would like, but it's definitely coming. And this, I think, is, like I said, a warning shot that it's going to be bad for them. Chris, I wrote an article for the OHIO podcast that I would like to share with all of you. I'm going to read a portion of that right now. That kind of about what the NCAA has stated, and the title of the article is "The Beginning of Troubles for Michigan." Michigan football faces 3 years of probation due to coaching and recruiting violations that we know as Bugergate, Chris, which is
mhm.
separate from the sign stealing scandal that came to light this past season that involves improper advanced scouting beginning in 2021 and running through 2023. The NCAA announced this on Tuesday. Michigan and five current or former football staffers, they've not let us know who they are, they've not released names, reached an agreement with the NCAA about these violations and their penalties. The penalties for Michigan include 3 years of probation, a fine, and recruiting restrictions. The five individuals agreed to 1 year show cause orders. The violations include impermissible in person recruiting during a COVID 19 dead period, impermissible tryouts, and exceeding the number of allowed coaches. Former head coach Jim Harbaugh was cited for a responsibility violation and failure to cooperate with the NCAA investigation. Michigan also acknowledged failing to prevent impermissible recruiting contacts and ensuring compliance with non coaching staff rules. One former coach's case will be considered separately by the NCAA Committee of Infractions. Do you think that that is Jim Harbaugh?
I would have to say yes.
I'm thinking so as well. Your initial thoughts, Chris, when this news came out, um, is it as I mean, can I be honest with you? I didn't think they were gonna get anything for Burger King. I thought they were gonna get a slap on the wrist. This is
Well,
not this is not exactly a slap on the wrist.
right. And I've talked to several people today, Eric, and I've kind of said the same thing. I didn't think they were going to get much of anything out of this. The recruiting violations in and of themselves are fairly minor. Uh, Obviously, I think the biggest issue was the fact that Jim Harbaugh failed to comply. And that got the ire up of the NCAA, who right now is trying to show that they still have teeth. Uh, and I've seen Michigan fans out celebrating right now that this is basically a win for them. They are so delusional. They really think this is the end of it. Like you said, this is just the beginning,
Mhm.
just the absolute beginning. We've still got Connor Gate to deal with. They've still got Juwan Howard's mess to deal with. They still have the sexual abuse claims to deal with. And the way they came down so hard on such a mild infraction lets me know that they are going to come down, I believe, like a ton of bricks when these uh, other items are brought before them.
Mhm.
I would be very surprised if they do not get at least a 5 year bowl ban, at least,
Wow.
because everything they got for this minor thing, it pales in comparison to the severity of actually cheating on the field. And I think that they are going to make a statement with that. And initially, I had thought to myself all along, they might have to vacate some wins. They might have to, they're going to get these bowl bans. You may see some suspensions. But I almost wonder, with the severity that this came out with, if vacating the national title isn't back in play.
Well, you and I both know if that happens, there's going to be a celebration at the Ohio State Alumni Club in Pittsburgh that we're going to be attending with
Yeah,
when that
absolutely.
happens with our good friend Wargo. Um, yeah, I almost my stance on this whole Burgergate thing has been kind of like I think the NCAA is stupid, and I thought Jim Harbaugh was basically just telling the NCAA you have no power. I don't. I'm not even gonna I'm not even going to speak to you because I feel like you have no power. And then, he exits stage left and now they come down with this, which again, it was very vague. And
Yeah,
so, what are those recruiting restrictions? In limited in-home visits. I mean, it's not it's not deducted scholarships. It's just recruiting restrictions. Um, So and then the show cause thing is interesting because are these coaches that are no longer even with the program? Are these coaches who are now in the NFL? Like it's again, a lot of this is just very, in my opinion, minor. But the fact that the initial rule breaking was very minor. This feels like the NCAA is kind of tipping their hand that it's going to be extreme.
yeah. And you look at it, whether they're with the program or not, if they are still a member of college football, and in some cases, if they've gone to the pro, because if you look, when Tress was given his, there was some carryover to that. I don't if I'm not mistaken, didn't he have to sit a while before he could actually start in
5
the
years.
NFL?
Yeah, because he was going to be hired by India the
The
Colts,
Colts
and it ended up being where he basically could all he was a glorified evaluator of talent for him,
an
a
analyst,
scout.
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, scout. Uh, so I don't think Harbaugh gets hit or loses his job in the NFL. I do think that there will be some, if you try to come back to college football, it will still be here waiting for you type thing. If you are a coach who is still in college football, you're going to get hit with it.
So moving forward a little bit, looking ahead, this sets them up also to be what's called a repeat offender, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
And I've seen some people talk about how that could cause the NCAA to come back even stronger with their
Correct.
next wave of punishment. We're hearing everything from, like you said, 5-year bowl ban. I've heard wins vacated. You said possibly national championship vacated, or deduction in scholarships. All of that's on the table. And then on top of that, um, when you look at that, and then on top of that, you've got a brand new coaching staff trying to build, I guess, a program out of the ashes of what Jim Harbaugh has left, and they have
It's enough.
coaches,
It's enough to
multiple
drive you to
coaches,
drink, Eric.
apparently.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a mess up there. And if you look, we have had what, two coaches now in the last 30 days from Michigan. One has actually been terminated, and one who's suspended right now.
Now suspended.
And I'm sure he will probably be terminated as well. Uh, he's one of my favorite Wolverines because he's the one who was laying under Zach Bourne in that iconic shot. But yeah, I mean, Denard Robinson has now joined Scuggs, I believe it was Greg Scuggs, as coaches who have disgraced this program by being arrested for OVI or
O-
OWI. I'm sorry,
OWI and
OWI
up
in
up in that
Michigan.
state,
Yeah.
yeah.
So here we are. You've got all this going on, And now you've got this issue with the coaches, which I almost feel the more and more things that stack up, we're going to lose it, or we're going to be looking at a lack of institutional control violation coming to the program as a whole very soon.
which would fall back on Ward
Uh,
Manual.
absolutely, absolutely. But how do you have a brand new coaching staff and have to relieve two of them in the last 30 days? You don't have two recruiting booms in the last 30 days, but you've had to fire two coaches in the last 30 days.
You
It,
know, it
it
was
says a
funny.
lot about the nature of the program right now.
Uh-huh, I was getting there. It's funny to me that Tony Alford talks so much about culture in his initial press conference, and it is apparent to me that whatever culture they had there that was positive, where is it? I don't see it. And
And
and and
Eric,
I
cheating aside, we both said that that was one of the things that Harbaugh had built up there was a winning culture. Cheating
yeah,
aside,
right. Toughness. I mean,
yeah,
to validate, not validate, but to, I guess, give credence to what Tony Alford said, they were tougher than
yes,
every opponent they played in the trenches
yes,
and running the football,
yes,
which is a testament to your toughness as a program. I agree. You have to be very mentally tough to deal with what they dealt with consistently over and over and over again on social media and with the truth that they were cheating and got caught and still were able to not allow that to penetrate the walls of their program. And so I will give credit to that.
yes,
However, outside of last year on the field, whatever is whatever is I guess you're hanging your hat on up there right now is not working.
no,
That culture's gone. And it might have went with Jim Harbaugh. It might have.
yeah,
And
I
JJ, JJ McCarthy and some of those players who are going to the NFL.
yeah. And what boggles my mind is you have this, and yet you still have Michigan fans out there saying they're going to repeat.
It's not going to happen.
You're going to be dead. You know, we thought Ohio State had a rough go as far as coaches went in the offseason with O'Brien coming, O'Brien going. Kelly's in, and then Alford's out. Now we got Coach Lockett. Ohio State did a great job of recovering. Uh, it's not going to happen for Michigan. It's just not. You've now
It's
lost.
not.
Listen, they've lost two of their favorite sons now over the course of the last few months. In Mike Hart not being brought back, and now Denard Robinson, who most likely will be terminated after this episode. The precedent's there. I think they've got to do it.
I agree. And so I'm going to be incredibly interested to see how those trolls from up north try to swing this as positive or what they say in regards to this video. Um, because the truth is that your program's falling apart. The evidence is all around you, and you can bury your head in the sand up in the sleeping bear sand dunes all you want. The facts are the facts. It's falling apart. You guys all know it. And if you want to lie to yourself and continue to be delusional, feel free. But we're going to tell you the truth about your program, man. And that's what's happening. And it doesn't look good. And just buckle up, Buttercup, because it's only going to get worse. And we've heard Sean told us on the last show the NCAA has put more investigators onto this. I
Yes.
confirm that's true. The NCAA is, and you know what that tells me? The NCAA is speeding up their investigation on this.
The NCAA, and JR said it originally. I think you and I have both mentioned it. They are, like I said, trying to prove they still have teeth, that they are still relevant. And right now, Harbaugh, for lack of a better term, pissing them off, did Michigan no favors. I think a lot of this goes away, or at least is downplayed, if Harbaugh just complies.
I agree.
I think that his decision to try to stand up to the NCAA to make them look like fools is now going to hurt the Michigan team in the long run for quite a few years.
I agree. I agree completely with that. Like, share, subscribe. You know the deal. We really do appreciate it. Please let us know your comments and what you think down in the comments section below. All of that really does help the algorithm gods over there at YouTube. Go check out the article and others at the Ohio Podcast at Gmail, or excuse me, at theohiopodcast.com, just theohiopodcast.com. You can email us if you like at theohiopodcast at gmail.com. Also, go check out the College Huddle, thecollegehuddle.com, covering 70 Division One football teams as of this recording. Articles, great podcast. It's all there. Go check it out. We really do appreciate it. Chris, till next time, be kind to one another. I owe someone's OH. Sing Carmen High with all your heart. OH.
IO.
Go Bucks.